What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon. Great to see you all. Hope you all had a really, really good weekend. I was traveling actually for immigration purposes and was gone all weekend. It was absolutely an amazing experience. I learned a lot about the situation and really what's going on out there, and I am grateful for that. Also, grateful to be back here with you this morning. Let me go ahead and actually send this to the Telegram group just so everyone knows that we are already up on live. And then we'll get going over here right now. Ooh, Scottsdale. We got people, Ireland. We got people from all over the world checking in here right now. Sweden. I'm so glad to be touching base with you all here. Tanzania. Ooh, amazing food. I had a friend. No, I'm not moving anywhere. I have to leave Mexico once every 6 months, and because of the virus, we have not been traveling. So I had to just make sure that I'm in compliance with all local laws. That makes much more sense, Chris. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at everything right now. We'll take a look at the US dollar, Japanese yen, 100%. Looks good over there. Take a look at everything, but we'll start with our normal rhythm. Thanks, absolutely, Weeping Angel. I did. It was a bit tiresome. Little rest, a lot of traveling, but nevertheless, we were back home with the family. Thanks, Shane. Thanks. I'm always worried out for obviously for my safety, for my freedom, for everything. Um, Listen, let's start over here with the S&P 500. All right, this is still obviously showing a beautiful, beautiful continuation of this risk on move we saw all of last week, ending on Friday. We already looked at the non-farm payroll numbers together. We're not going to get into any of that right now. All I'm going to say, and keep this short over here, there is no trade for me to even be looking at right now. There is no longer a good risk reward here at all to the upside, and I'm not trading against this to the downside. Something that I'm going to be doing is actually showing the true trend a lot more for you. The thing is that I learned to trade without it, but I have actually slept on the fact that it's a lot easier for the other people, for people as it was for me for a long time, to be able to understand and view the market. Now, it does get a little tricky over here, right? Because how do you know when a trend is ending? When's the start of a new trend? We know it's very easy to say when the true trend crosses over positive that it's now the beginning of an uptrend. And you could see on this break of this neckline over here, that's where we tried to go really aggressively short here. It didn't work out. Took a couple of other shorts, thinking that perhaps this could be topping out over here, and it's just persisted. But over here, I got long over here in the area between 2260 and 2300, and if I was just blinded to the true trend, and so that makes it difficult to teach, right? Because you want to get people to start seeing the trend, but you have to then learn when the trend is also rolling over and ending. And generally speaking, that's when you get some really oversold or overbought levels on the true trend. All right, let's keep going over here. After this, let's take a look at what's going on with gold. Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to become the number 2 now. And that's simply because everyone knows that right now in this moment, I am very, very, very bullish on the long-term trend here of Bitcoin. This is going to be, if this is not your screensaver, consider making this your screensaver. It is mine, and we've just gone red. And what's funny about this is you have someone saying it really is this easy. And then you have other people a lot of people are confused. Even if they see it, they don't buy into it. So to think that anything about efficient market hypothesis, or whether or not because someone is forecasting, trying to mathematically backing it up, whether or not it could actually happen or not. There's enough people who are betting against it that that not nearly enough people know about it and or following it. Is it that easy? Let's find out together. So yeah, this is a fantastic question over here, and we're gonna start over here. Patal's asking, do I think that the other indexes, the Dow and the S&P, could catch up and make all-time highs like the Nas 100? And why this is such a good question is because right now everybody is saying that, you know, the Dow and the S&P 500 are on their way to make new highs. And when I say everybody, that's a lot of a lot of people that communicate on the channels. And you know why that could happen, that's not that the confidence in which that's being thrown around is definitely worrisome. So do I think that they can do it? Yeah, if they start, let me put it this way, if the S&P and the Dow catch up and start making new all-time highs, then everyone has a reason to be pretty bullish and look for that trend to continue for a period of time. But until they're all confirming each other, yeah, I would say it's definitely continues to be an ongoing worrisome situation. So, by the way, what there was one of the market I wanted to take a look at, or the Nasdaq. Let's take a look. Yeah. All right. So DXY, what's going on with the dollar? I'm going to get to gold next, but I'm kind of putting gold back a couple of steps only because right now is not the time to be focused in on gold. Looking over here though at the dollar, you could see that we have come up into this resistance on Friday. We took another look at it, and now ever since early morning New York, over the last hour or so, you're seeing the dollar come off soft. Perhaps that means we're going to see the equity markets continue up a little bit, or we'll see. New York could be tricky to reverse it. But right now, so far, you could see that this area over here, when you're with the trend, right? And then we are towards some oversold readings. I'm looking for a turn over here, but this could continue. And now you could see over here, adding to this resistance, this is the time to be looking for a further continuation, perhaps during this New York session, as now the dollar is trading off. Hector, while I was traveling over the weekend, if you signed up yesterday, I was on planes all day, and then I arrived to my family. And besides, it was Sunday. But yeah, normally people hear from me within 12 hours of signing up. So this is looking. We're going to start with silver, and then we're going to go to gold. Gold's really being put in its place this morning. This is still quite bullish over here, right? We're holding this area of support that we're really concerned about, 1740, trading above it now. We'll see. I'm kind of neutral on the precious metals right now. And here also gold is now looking like it now looks like it's perhaps rolling over for a deeper pullback. I've been waiting for this pullback for a little while right now, and we're going to be watching for. I'm not really concerned about the upside over here, and why I would not be surprised if gold was able to maintain this consolidation area it's in, roughly between 1744 and 1670. That seems reasonable, but at the same time, it seems like we could potentially be rolling over here for a little bit, possibly pull back on the precious metals. Yeah, so Model 3 Life, this is something so the airports were really actually seemed very clean. Like, for example, I'm more concerned about my local Costco than I was about the airports. And I didn't go in there. I went in there with goggles on, my N95 mask, a hoodie, protecting myself, armed with like alcohol and, my baby wipes, antibacterial. The airports weren't crowded at all. The planes weren't crowded. And everyone there looked super healthy. Everyone's temperature is taken before obviously entering and exiting. And everyone there looked pretty darn healthy. Cases obviously in the US have been, cases in the US are are moderately starting to rise over the last couple of weeks. So we're going to watch and see if that's a trend or not. But the people traveling, everyone looked good. You know what? I had to take a couple of Ubers, and I actually anyway, the Ubers were running throughout the city. They've been running now for quite a while. Everyone's taking them, and cases are pretty low, right? So there were people who I would say when everyone's around each other, everyone's wearing masks. If you're kind of a little bit distant from someone, a lot of people don't wear masks or take it off at that point. And there are a certain amount of people, all healthy looking, who don't believe in wearing masks because they believe that it's a stand. Well, they believe in their freedom and they're exercising that right. And that seems to be, I would say, about close to 30% of young males. So anyway, hey, Michael has a great comment over here. He says that you guys are calling for a crash. You got to give up on the bias. If it was going to crash, it would have done so by now. All right. Well, if this was going to crash, it would have crashed. I mean, that's just simply not what, anyone that I look up to, any, people like Raoul Pal, for one, who's an analysis that I do follow. Plan B, that's another, right? They say different, but we'll see what happens in the end. Maybe you're right. Maybe the same traders who are buying Hertz in bankruptcy are also right. Hey, it's the new normal. Billionaires like Carl Icahn, who sold all his shares to Robinhood investors, maybe the billionaire's wrong. Maybe the aged investor and trader is wrong, and maybe the millennials are right. I don't want to even use millennials as a bad term. How else do you describe a generation? I'm Gen X. But people who are now in their, well, even younger than what's under millennials now. Whoever's right now in their early 20s. What's the name of the generation? All right. Let's take a look over here. Let's go take a look at Bitcoin right now. And Bitcoin is looking pretty good. It continues its consolidation here. Look over here. If this was to be reversed, if you could look at this area reversed, I mean, you would expect this to be rolling over and tumbling. Bitcoin, it's getting close over here to the big breakout, and it could happen as soon as this week. Obviously, I'm way less cautious now about that possible dip as we've exited that area. A few days ago, we were talking about the caution areas between June 2nd and June the 5th. We only saw the initial, so far, 19% drawdown. It's a huge drawdown on Bitcoin, right? Once you have a 20 or 30% drawdown on Bitcoin in a bull market, you got to be thinking about buying Bitcoin. And it looks like now that we are close to the breakout. That's the first time since we regained the resistance over here back into our trend. And remember, the whole way up, I was walking all through it as far as accumulating down here, continuing to accumulate, but take profit towards up here. And then when we got back in here, the only addition was at 82 and 85, and just currently holding. Everything looks really good. So my tone is changing on Bitcoin. It's becoming a little more bullish. It looks like we are getting ready here to break out. I really firmly believe the most important investment, the most important trade, or at least the one that I am focused in on and making right now, is Bitcoin, going long here, accumulating as much as I can still. By accumulating, I mean continuing to further increase my position with buys all the way through the end of this year, all the way through December of 2020. And I believe that we are somewhere around, the 19,000 all-time high levels. I don't think we make a new high, but I think we'll be around there. Let's take a look at the euro, Australian dollar. Let me get off the weekly. So I'm in a trade right now. Obviously, I'm short over here as we came back into this resistance and are resuming over. But now that we have come into this area of support I have down over here, this area of support, I guess the reason I have it marked over there is because of what happened, bottoming out over here, support, support. So that's the guide I'm using. But now that we're coming down into this, I have to be wary about looking to perhaps either exit my full position if we start making some higher highs over here, because just even again, here's the true trend, and you can see the entry CCI has been oversold now for a little bit. Why not taking out this support, right? So what are the odds? Well, we could consolidate further without really coming back up and testing halfway level between this and the next resistance. That's entirely possible. But if we do start making higher highs here with the entry so oversold, we should come back a little higher. It's probably be a good time to exit this trade in full for me if that does happen. Now, is there a possibility that this just continues? This oversoldness continues. Oversold can remain oversold for an extended period of time. If you look over here, it was oversold, and then here you had that big push down. So I'm more apt right now as far as managing this trade, and managing a trade is way more important than entering the trade, because otherwise you find yourself taking profits way too soon. Or the other option available, right, is take a piece off. So we'll see what happens over there. The US dollar, Japanese yen also now you can see the same thing happened. You can see the same thing happened. As it was overbought, it just, as it came back, came all the way in. I'm looking for a new position now myself. So what I'm looking to do here, I have a perfect setup technically. I have this 5-year trend line that we've broken now above. It's now being tested to see that it is support. You have the entry CCI pulled back way oversold in that uptrend, resetting price, now giving me a better risk reward should price continue towards the trend. So that is definitely still an active trade for over here, as well as looking ready to add to a position now on a pullback. If we lose this trend line over here and we come back into it, then all of a sudden, not only does that trend line become a very important area to see if that holds as resistance, but also this horizontal, what is now support at 108.86, 108.86. If this breaks, if it doesn't hold on the way down, then that's where we watch for a trend change over here. And even if the true trend is still green over here, because at that point it looks like technically perhaps that's where the move is ending, and you'll see already the trend CCI has a reading well above 200. Once you get closer to 250, 300, not always, but often that could be the end. So Jason, the way that the next trade that I would be looking how to enter on this right now would be when we start making a higher high on the 8-hour time frame, as long as this area holds, right? Even if we break this trend line and then this support holds, we can make it back above here quickly. But right now, I'm looking for a higher high to be made on the 8-hour time frame, and that has to come during one of my preferred trading sessions. So, I mean, even here, you could see right now that we are, look at the true trend, look at the entry CCI, look how overbought we are. Overbought can remain so for a long time, but a lot of people, they chase momentum. When they chase momentum, they're always selling when something's oversold, or buying when something's overbought. Now, overbought can remain so, and this is the situation you want to be long in. When price is pushing, this is what you want to hold your trades for, right? But as far as buying up here, or I'm expecting a pullback pretty soon. Now, what type of pullback will that be? Will that be something of the effect of like, something that happened down over here? you know, or here's another pullback or another pullback. This is also a pullback. So yeah, I'm just expecting a normal healthy pullback right now. I don't think that we're going to see 4,000 right now, and I don't think we're going on to make new highs. Right now, trend strongly up. Price is definitely very, very overbought and extending. Often this is how moves do end. I'm not calling a crash, but just be aware that this is often how moves end. Euro US dollar this morning right now is actually looking like it is holding this support over here and now looking to actually resume this move upwards. An entry signal for this would also be if price was making a higher high right now, as price made a higher high during a preferred time of day. And, you know, for Forex here on the US dollar, it is, you know, to the London close. But the last 2 hours between 2 and 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, any entries you get during that period, they're few and far between, but overall they are very profitable. They're good signals. So Australian dollar, US dollar, also the same, looking over here to extend the dollar's weakness this morning. Let's take another look at the dollar over here. Yep. So the dollar again was now on the verge of rolling over, making another move back towards the trend. You know, as long as right now the last swing high over here was all the way up around 97.64. So, you know, that would be the first inkling that perhaps this move is coming, possibly turning over. But right now it looks to be pretty strong still here against looking at a weak dollar. I don't know who saw over the weekend when I did the comparison between the S&P 500 and Bitcoin, and I spoke about a lot of people think that Bitcoin's future is really determined by the nature of the market. We looked how Bitcoin lost 85% of its value while the stock market did not move over like an 8-month period. And then we also looked at Bitcoin making, you know, like 15x gains while the stock market only went up like 10%. All right, so what else we got going over here? We need to get a feel for the market and how things are shaping up. It is Monday. We got a long week ahead of us. By the way, just because, you know, the US dollar, Japanese yen, this is offering something to really watch out here for a possible long entry. At the same time, you have something setting up on the Euro US dollar where this could be actually now resuming back towards the trend. You know, you have to discern, and we're just getting started here. That's just the first two pairs we looked at. That leads me to believe there's a lot of setups in the market right now. And what that means is you got to find out where you want to focus your time and your capital. So what about this on the Australian dollar, US dollar? This also looks like it's getting possibly ready to make another leg up. Now, you know, does it look healthier than the Euro US dollar in the fact that the consolidation has been small and with upwards pressure? Yeah, that kind of looks like if it breaks down, that could be nasty. So definitely watch this. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. Similar thing that we're just looking at here on the Australian dollar, US dollar. It is also consolidating into that resistance over here. It also has that similar consolidation shape over here. This is not something that I would focus on. Good morning. Good to see you in here. Yeah, well, right. Same thing. That's what, you know, the indexes could look like. And obvious, but timing's everything. So we're looking at what's happening right now, right? Australian dollar, US dollar definitely could be topping out over here, but it's not topping out yet. That's for sure. So right now it looks like it could definitely be extending, definitely upwards. And look what happens if you break that level. Probably come right all the way up to test the whole number, a little higher than 70 cents, and pretty quickly. And then we'll see what happens if it's able to break out into this unknown territory. But focusing on what's right in front of us right now. Australian dollar, Japanese yen, also looking very, very possibly good here, especially this one here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 down bars in a row. This is the pullback, and look at the extent of the control of the sellers. Do you think that the buyers are just going to automatically give up here while they're maintaining control? This looks good. I should clean up my trend lines a little bit, my resistance lines, because price is being turned over. How long could this risk on continue? Right? I'm surprised this continued this long. A lot of, well, it's happening now. This looks really good over here. Charlie, good morning. This is the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, and this looks like, wow, the New Zealand dollar has actually been stronger than the Australian dollar, huh? So this could be viewed in one of two ways. We could be down towards an area of support. People are looking to buy over here, or on a shorter term right now, this has the potential to be rolling over. You could see over here now we've pulled back into this little bit of, I don't even have it marked on my chart, so I'm not going to trade it. But I should still keep the lines neat for you all, right? It's easier. I sometimes take for granted things that I'm able to, from all the years of doing it, to easily process. And it's different, right? It's helpful to have things in front of you that are clearer. So, and I've often talked about this pattern that I like in a downtrend, when you get 2 up bars. Now on the daily is preferable, that are short, but the same exact pattern, same exact look, same exact feel as you get in here, but on the daily, on the 8-hour. So if this rolls over, this could be offering a potential short opportunity. But again, we have some good setups that I'm seeing, Australian dollar, Japanese being one of them, the Australian dollar, US dollar being another. So Euro, US dollar, Euro, Australian dollar, I'm looking actually to think about getting ready to take some profit over here. Euro, Swiss franc is actually a good one, Jonathan. Euro, Swiss franc, I'm going to step back and just get you to see, really, this is an enormous, strong downtrend. Has this pulled back to levels that make it attractive enough now to begin putting on a short? Well, perhaps, but again, that's not what we're looking for over here. We're looking at right now this counter trend. When I say counter trend, this is like the S&P. Well, this is not like the S&P at all. This is a counter trend in the fact that, you're in a strong down bear market, and now you're getting a rip raw the opposite way. Now, generally speaking, these could be a good time to build up a short position, but the style of trading we're looking for here right now is what's happening right now. So you got a very strong trend. You got the entry CCI starting to pull back. So this could perhaps being offering the opportunity for further longs, especially of this area of support, which actually might need to be moved up all the way here to above where it just broke out of on the way up now. And I think that's the next area that we're going to be looking for. It looks like it should continue upwards. At the same time, let's check out the Euro Japanese yen. Very similar situation, and we could see all of this resistance. When I say similar situation, it's a strong downtrend. We're now seeing a rip-roaring rally the other way. This is, generally speaking, where is a pretty good, longer term area to be getting short, as this is, the distribution stage over here. People were talking about Wycliffe earlier. But even still, we're focused in on what's happening, and this current trend definitely has still further room to possibly extend itself. So we're looking now, as we're seeing this pullback over here, for if and when it begins to resume, to get long. Good morning, Young Feng Shui. Good to see you in here. Virtue trade, man. This place is not for you then, brother. I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry for Jordan that he doesn't have many things to say about the indices. I was loving talking all about the S&P rather than Forex. Well, I'm about making money. Go trade Forex, trade the 8-hour Forex, foreign exchange, and ride out these smoother trends in currencies. But don't feel bad for me because the US markets are a way inferior market. I'm not concerned about it. My only play at all right now inside the US equity markets is long GBTC. So don't feel bad for me. I like to definitely trade, especially. And by the way, I had not traded the S&P for so long. Going back 17 years perhaps, until we were looking over here, and I cautioned ever since we started live streaming, do not short this market, do not short this market, do not short this market. When and if it does start coming off, it's going to come off hard and fast. Then the crisis began. This is when I started trading the S&P again, first time in 17 years, and made a killing to the downside. And then for this initial 253 bump up, catching the trend after several different attempts, the bottom. And yeah, why I didn't hold longer and took a few short trades over here. That's what it is. But now, right now, the opportunity on the S&P versus other markets is not there. So I'm not attracted to the S&P right now. I don't feel bad for me, or the NASDAQ 100, or the DAX, or any. For what reason they don't offer the better. Now maybe, well, not even maybe. Bitcoin is a much better play than even if you were to go ahead here and take a position, with the S&P in Bitcoin traded account. But Bitcoin is about to go bull. This market's not going to bull. This market right now doesn't look at all like it's going to 4,000, and it's who knows if it's going to go on to make new highs or not, right? It's not I don't know. But I appreciate the concern. Yeah, let's take a look at the pound Japanese yen. We haven't looked at that yet this morning, and you went short as price was definitely very, very oversold, overbought into resistance, right? And after, so the thing is about these long, big up moves is that they do have sharp moves downward as well, right? So I'm sorry, that's a counter trend trade I cannot argue with at all. I think it's a good trade. I think even if you are, pulled back a little bit, it's debatable. I would say that, that's going back a couple of years now, but that's a pretty strong downtrend overall that we got over here. So you picked a good spot to sell into at a good time with price being so overbought. And again, once you get up to readings that high, there's a good chance this trend is coming to an end. Now, anyone over here, as you get into supports, is looking to buy while the trend is still clearly still up. And anytime the entry CCI is oversold, of course, that's a great move as well. That's a great trade. It's all right, Michael. That's what it is. They'll learn eventually, because at the end of the day, we're all here for the same reasons, and that's to make money in the markets, right? None of us is going to be so stubborn that we have to trade Tesla, even if we find out we can make more money on the pound Japanese yen. Nice trade, Michael. Oh, I thought you made that. US dollar, Swiss franc, let's check it out. I mean, definitely. It's so if you didn't get it, this trade already rolled over, right? So you had a nice pullback into this resistance, and it's now resuming downwards. Just a fantastic trade. Clear guy that you're getting in short at the right time. And that's a beautiful trade. That's one right now. If you're holding and managing this trade, you have to be looking at what are the next areas on the downside to look at, right? So I would say we have some nice support at 0.9514. Let's draw that in. On the upside, as far as where you have some area to look for where you're wrong. And I would say if you came back above this first resistance over here, the one at 0.9645, after like the momentum and the strength here of rolling over, that should hold, right? So if that doesn't hold, you want to get out of the trade. But if this does continue right now, I think that this looks like a pretty firm, strong rejection. And you know, I'd be just, this trade could just be getting started. Hey guys, thanks. I see Mark Mellon, offering some help in the chat. That's really awesome. Thank you for really adding to the community like that and helping people. So I could focus in over here on the charts and see what's going on. By the way, I mentioned Tesla, and that's beautiful. That's the game plan all along. The game plan going back to this area was, right, if we broke this trend line, that's an area to take profits. And then if we get back above the resistance over here and flip it into support, that could be a new look and perhaps even all-time highs. Tesla is taking off. Looks pretty good over there. AJ bringing in the daps this morning. Tim, I didn't even see your question. Just go to the description. It says my Forex broker. All right, so Australian dollar, Japanese yen, definitely watching that. Interesting that as New York woke up this morning, don't forget, everyone gets to wake up now in their home. It's a little different. So they've started selling the dollar, and the upward movement here in the indices continues. Again, you're looking at something that's very, very overbought on the near term and on the longer term trend over here. Prices are very, very overbought. Just caution and be careful. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Oh wow, this is a perfect example of how overbought can remain overbought for an extended period of time. And look at here at the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, as it came over here and started breaking out over that over here at 0.6244. It has remained, the entry CCI has remained overbought this entire time. So now as you are coming into some pretty decent resistance, and you're coming into this resistance way overbought, you know, that could be an opportunity over here that the trend is perhaps looking to roll over here. So that's interesting. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen already starting to roll over into the strong area over here. Now, of course, this is very strong, but it's a counter move, I still believe, right? And now you see that coming off. Is that an opportunity here to get short this morning? I mean, I don't know. At the same time, there's no question about it. Look how powerful that trend is. At the same time, with now the entry CCI oversold, could that resume back and take out this next big area of resistance over here, right above us? Right above us. I can move that down now to the peaks of these wicks. Let me do that. So 71.73, is it possible now a resumption up will take us past that level and up to 73.33? Yeah, I see all of that playing out. That's for sure. Travis, I use the 8-hour time frame. It's the best time frame to trade. There is 24 hours in a day, right? That's that's 3 8-hour signal periods. There happens to be 3 main sessions that we look at: the Asian, the European, and then the New York. And the 8-hour actually does a fantastic job of filtering out all of that daily market noise and chop, which on the 1 hour and 4 hour are very difficult to manage and trade, with lots of false movements. 8-hour filters that out pretty well. Careful on that message over there. Yeah, that's really good. Long lost plus is saying that, listen, so the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen would be safer just buying the pullback. And you know whether that's true or not is what you're doing right now is not only discerning right over here as you're way overbought, but at the same time perhaps into a strong resistance on a downtrend. So what's safer? You have to figure out what side of that market are you looking to play. Are you looking to see if this pullback holds and we come out and take out this last bit of resistance here? That could be a really nice trade. Or are you looking to go ahead and take the other side of that? Well, that's, it's hard when the market becomes this far into the trend. Pound US dollar, also it continues in that strong move. Now starting to reset and pull back a little bit. The pullback hasn't even really started, so you just got to be neutral here. There's not even a trade to begin looking at over here on the pound US dollar. Let's check in over here on the S&P right now. Also take a look at what gold is doing. Gold's trading right now at 1688 and silver right around 1750. Silver also looks good over here as it's pulling back now into this area of support. Any pullbacks are an opportunity here as the price starts resuming upwards to continue getting long on silver. So the opportunity in the market is definitely starting to flow today. Multiple setups, and a lot to be watching. Here's see the yen is firming up a little bit over here, and the dollar is actually weak across the board. We've seen that for the last hour and a half. This is a pullback right now. If this area holds, this is the opportunity to get long here on the US dollar, Japanese yen, especially coming out of this breakout. Here's the breakout. The yellow line is a 5-year trend line. Price broke out so far, came into the resistance we had at 1097, right? Always said that's the line, get above, and then you have to be long. But this is the opportunity to get long now if this holds over here. Well, I'm not focused on that. I'm only focused on what's happening really right in front of me. Are we coming into any type of a trend line over here? Is that the question? Yeah, I would say, I mean, this trend line is not drawn into precision. I just wanted a little bit of a guide, and that looks pretty good. I could see that looks pretty good. It's penetrated, definitely to the upside a couple of times, and but that's the line. I think that's what you're looking at. Carlos, man, absolutely, man. Thank you for that. Happy to be doing it. Happy to be spending this time with you all. I love it. So that's interesting. Hold on, fix these charts up a little bit. That's interesting. The trend line that you pointed out, which coincides with that horizontal resistance at 71.73. But more importantly, you are looking at a trend that could be coming to exhaustion, right? That's how they happen. Very rare do you get this type of thing. This was a crisis. This was what a crisis looked like. So when you start getting and seeing the true trends really extending down and staying at enormously low levels, oversold, that's not the norm. That's not the norm. So it's interesting to watch over there. I was traveling all weekend. I was traveling all weekend. Today's the first moment we're seeing the yen strengthen. I'm just kind of getting back in the feel here and in the flow. That's why I'm not in such a rush. I see a lot going on. There's a lot of action to be taken, and that's nice to see in the market right now. But I'm not doing any of that in this moment right now. I'm getting the feel of the market, which I think is one of the most important habits, that you could have in trading, is really not being in a rush to do your analysis and putting in the required time. You have to equate that really. You have to understand that's the most important part of doing what you do. Right now. So I'm trading off the technicals. I'm trading off what's happening on the chart. For why the yen could be strengthening today, it's a very small move so far, right? It's a very small move. But it's coming off of the technicals that we could follow it, right? And that's what we'll continue doing. Yeah, the mood was really good. I was again, I'm much more concerned and feel icky when I go to my local Costco really over here than when I was traveling. Traveling was actually a pretty pleasurable experience. Now, there were a lot of other inconveniences, but as far as the other travelers, everyone looked really healthy. Everyone wore masks, and everyone was mindful of everyone else. You really don't have the choice. If you want to be on the plane anyway, you need to have a mask. In the airport, that's not required. And generally, you see a lot of people in Utah. Almost no one was wearing masks. Not almost anyone. In Utah, a large percentage of the people were not wearing masks. I would have to say it was somewhere around 30%. No, Hector, you should email me. Just email me. It probably whatever email you use for PayPal is where the either the welcome or getting started email was sent to, Hector. So check that out, but definitely email me directly, and I'll be able to help you out. But check your PayPal email address and look for either one of those. And if you registered, then just check the email you registered with as well. All right, let's take a look at what's going on. Yeah, so we're seeing that definite yen strength in this session. We're also seeing dollar weakness this session, which only came on over here in the last couple of hours. But it was a strong rejection into that resistance. Yeah, Utah representing hard. All around. I mean, if you think about it, again, there's people taking Ubers across the city and all cities all the time. Those people are in contact with a lot of people throughout the day. And you just don't hear any reports about specifically Uber drivers getting sick. You don't hear that at all. And we've been probably over cautious. I think really the focus right now is to make sure that our immune systems are really healthy. You have to be getting sleep. We're taking some vitamin D and I believe B13. And as long as you eat a healthy diet and get some exercise, you should continue to be pretty healthy by just taking obviously normal caution, especially when you're around other people. To be honest, when this first thing started, that was my main concern was, people who are sick should not be out, and people, if they're wearing masks, I don't have to worry so much. Zulu family, good morning. Great to see you this Monday as we get started over here, starting to feel like we now got a nice family. All right, what else do we want to look at today? Let me take a look around. Let me check in what I really was checking in with. First of all, S&P doing the same thing. Nothing going on over there. Gold and silver slightly up on the day. DXY has rolled over and is now have a lot of pressure on it. There's a lot of pressure on it. You can see this happening right now. So what does that bring up for dollar pairs? Australian dollar, US dollar. Australian dollar is on the verge of possibly breaking out here to the upside. It's doing it as price is already overbought. So be careful. Be careful. That's why time of day is used as an entry. You need volume with you right now at this point in the day. And we do have about an hour and 10 minutes of some really good trading. And we're going to see probably some decent moves coming up in the next 40 minutes or so. But this is looking like it could possibly break out to the upside. At the same time, be careful. It's definitely overbought. Yeah, Wilford, go ahead and send me a quick email with exactly that comment you just wrote, and I'll look into it if that's the case. That was because of the difficulty adjustment around the time of when miners should capitulate. We've been talking about this as it was developing, which was more around this area. And we were talking about whether or not this was the miner capitulation or this will lessen the move after the halving. I was very cautious going into the halving that we could have up to a 30% pullback. Although I maintained that I think that we hold this trend line the whole time. And so that's out of the way now. And it looks like there's a lot of buyers in here. Again, Grayscale, GBTC has accounted for more 150% of all of the Bitcoin mined since the halving. So it looks like we're getting ready here to make a move. And it looks like that if we do break out above this 10,400 level, if we do break above this trend line over here, which I've been saying both will start the bull market, we could be getting ready here for a big move on Bitcoin. The risk now, in my opinion, is not being in Bitcoin. That's where the greatest risk is. It's not the downside. It's certainly not the upside. It's not being in Bitcoin itself. But I spend about, I think someone just starting out and learning, if they're really interested in their training and development as a trader, which definitely means, probably not, it means not trading until you're even ready to get onto a demo and begin trading on a demo. I think that you need about 30 minutes a day in the beginning. And then I think that you could increase that, in proportion to how you're making money, right? As you on the demo, you definitely want to be 30 minutes a day. And then when you're going live, right, maybe extend that to 40 minutes, 45 minutes. I think that is the amount of time you need. Roman, thank you for sharing the big up for the support for that. Thank you for anyone who's really taking the time, which is more than like 25% of you who have hit that like button this morning to go ahead and show the support of our sessions and the time we take together. I appreciate that support of me and of the channel. And again, I love it. I'm grateful. So what else is going on? The Australian dollar, Japanese yen. So, you know, so I'm looking at this and I'm saying, well, could you look at this as perhaps this is where the trend is changing? Even if it is there, I don't the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, I don't have any inkling whatsoever, especially after taking out this big area, which is now support, right? This big resistance of looking to short this, and perhaps could this be the end of the move? If this is the end of the move over here, there's going to be then ample opportunity during the next phase of the rollover to go ahead and get short there. Right now, I'm looking for longs here for any possible long. Is this on the daily? Has this broken? Is that a broken level or not? Yeah, this closed above. This is now a green line. This is support that we're coming into right now. So especially if it were to roll over, even into this beautiful, this last resistance over here, right? That should now be support. If the pullback is that deep and this comes over, it looks phenomenal, right? Any pullback right now looks like it should be bought. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So if I give you hello, I give you, that's not going to happen. You're better off stepping to a different place, Andreas. So thanks, Dan, although I do appreciate that. I do appreciate all of that. Let's keep going over here really quick. Well, I could answer that question. I mean, the point of these live sessions is not here for me to give you alerts when I buy and trade. Anytime I'm entering a trade, why on a live session, which is not when most of my trades occur. Most of my trades occur during the beginning of the London session. But for sure, you know, they're definitely shown here as it happens. I am back. This has been a short session so far. How long have we been online? I can't even see it. So I'd say it's about 1 hour though anyway. We'll keep going here a little bit because I think the next half hour of trading is going to pick up. I was traveling all weekend, so I haven't yet even begun to catch up on sleep. So, but I think we're going to go another 30 minutes over here and see what else is developing. US dollar, Japanese yen. Let's take a look at that one. That is definitely in play. And so again, oh man, when I say, oh man, here's what I want to focus on, right? So definitely a break here of the 5-year trend line to the upside. Came into the 109.70 big line, the line in the sand. That's why it's blue. Above that, we said you have to be very bullish. Above this trend line over here, I said that's enough room to take a trade in between there, right? And that played out well. And right now, we're looking for an opportunity, if this holds, to go long. If this is the top over here, as the true trend is actually becoming very, very showing very high levels, right? There's going to be other opportunities here as if this is a trend change, as this rolls over, to get short and play the easy part of the trend, right? The easy part of the trend. Not you don't need to play the top and the bottom of the trend. So we'll watch it and we'll wait and we'll see. Hey, Cameron, I'm actually happier now with 1,000 because we just have a whole lot less of what's going on with ZM, what's going on with such and such. What could you look at Microsoft and things like that? And that's not what this is, right? So they're probably better and better streams if you're interested in like a Robinhood trader. This is not Robinhood trading. Jonathan, thank you for that. Absolutely. I haven't seen Darren. I haven't seen the Drunkett-Miller interview or heard about it. Do you have a source so I could go ahead and pull that up? I would like to check that out. I'd like to hear anytime Stanley talks. 30 years, 30 years, over 30% in a row. That is the best of the best. All right. Kind of flat ever since we've entered this session. Ever since for the last hour, though, we've been flat across the board. Not much to say about that. Not much to say about that. Again, the next hour is going to be pretty insightful. Yeah, let's take out the US dollar, Canadian dollar on CNBC. Thank you. I'm going to check that out. I'll watch that later. You pay, Darren, you pay a premium on GBTC, but you know, because you're stuck in that inferior structure, you know, the US equity markets, you could yeah, you're paying a premium for it. So you're paying a premium not to control your own money. Plus 2%. Not only plus 2%. John, oil's fading. Let's take a look at it. Funny as expected, would close this little gap over here, and a lot of traders get comfortable on that, whether or not they're gonna, you know, assuming almost automatically that they will close, and more often than not, when price gets this close to it, it's definitely gonna well, it definitely will take a look at it and close it. What happens if this time it doesn't? That would be interesting. That would be interesting. Gold is not in play today. Gold is not in play. But Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is largely in play at this time. Gold is not in play right now. Gold is definitely consolidating nicely. You know, again, you could look at this as perhaps this is here, the bottoming over here at the support over here. You can see this could be actually a really good time now if we come out of this to go ahead and buy gold. And if you're seeing this roll over, and we're gonna be taking a look at, you know, 1580, which is where I would like to be able to buy in, right? That's going to be if we break down out of this consolidation over here, right? If we break down out of here, that would be then perhaps the opportunity to start looking to sell between here and 1580. But we want to look at the US dollar, Canadian dollar also. Let's look at that. This is now strong resistance. Let me draw that in. You could see this was that long consolidation that you're seeing on gold right now, right? So if it does trade below that, that's when you could see the pullback. Longer term, well, the dollar's weak right now. The dollar's weak right now. It's a question of how long that remains. That's with a thing that we looked at over the weekend on the weekly Forex forecast and analysis. We spoke about the DXY and its current situation. But right now, I don't see the US dollar, Canadian dollar as a place of opportunity to focus in on. And there definitely seem to be others. Maybe the volatility will move back into the US dollar, Canadian dollar, making it more attractive, but that's not right now. Did I say 1580 on gold? Yeah, 1580. 1580. That would be an attractive place to buy gold. Listen, I own gold. I've owned gold for quite a long time. I continue to own gold. It doesn't mean that I think this is the place where I want to be investing my money right now, and it's not. And Bitcoin is. Bitcoin's about to enter a bull market and make some enormous gains. So gold is not attractive right now. Definitely, and always will continue to look to add more gold when it is attractive, right? You know, and see, Adam, that's such a good attitude anyway, because you know, can you imagine? There's only way to learn though, right? It's by being quiet and listening. Listening is how you learn, and that's how you learn best. So, you know, listen, the great thing about it is over time that the amount of people who are here to learn and have, you know, it's paid off in their lives and will continue to do so. And then those that simply are not at a place where they're ready to get it, they'll move on quickly. Yeah, exactly. That's also Lee Iyer is a great input over there, and I have to highlight that. Go to Baby Pips, you know, search Baby Pips to get an education for free, and then follow this live stream. That's the best way to do it. Baby Pips is going to explain terminology and things that are very basic, like a pip, the unit of measurement, like a tick in stock market. But if you're new to Forex and don't know what that is, and or a lot of other things, they do a Baby Kips does a fantastic job in explaining things like that. Where else are we? I want to check in on the Australian dollar, US dollar. On the dollar itself, Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Yeah, I'm exiting this position in full right now. AJ, yeah, of course. AJ, the first thing I do when I enter a trade, the first thing I do is put in a stop loss. I don't have a take profit in always every time I enter a trade. But I always have a stop loss in. And the thing is that is one of the first things that you need to do to change your trading is just really sit down with yourself and understand that it's very true that you have to cut your losses quickly and hold on and push your winning trades, because not taking your losses quickly is the same thing as taking your profits too quickly. If you take your profits too quickly and then hold on to a few losses, you're doing it exactly backwards of how it should be done, which is cutting off all of your losing trades quickly and holding on to a few of your winners. That's how you do it. So how do you hold on to the few winners? Well, you have to be looking every single trade you get into to be able to push it to maximum profit. When I got into this trade over here, right, I was looking for the, you know, if we could break down below the first closest support and then push down further to a far level of support, right? That's my original expectation. But now, as price I looked at it this morning with you, consolidating here on above the support and pretty oversold for an extended period of time without going anywhere. If you're oversold and you like here, you're oversold, but look at price moving, right? This is price moving in an oversold environment. Is price moving here in this oversold environment? No, it's not. So what am I looking to do? Just exit the trade, take the small profit. Yeah, US dollar is Japanese yen is high on my list now, right? Again, that was after entering over here and then selling as we started resuming off over here. Now I'm looking to re-enter the trade. And for that to happen, if we're holding this support over here, we have price oversold, resuming back upwards, making higher highs during a preferred session. That's the time to get in. If this is holding, you know, that's always been the line in the sand, the 1097. So if this is where we are going to be holding up, and then this trend is going to be rolling over, there's going to be a lot of time to get short and to ride out that trend. But that's right now, right here, this is an opportunity here to see if this could go ahead and continue resuming. This is what I named the true trend. This is a 70 period CCI over here. This is called the trend CCI. And then the blue line over here is a 3 period CCI. This is the entry CCI. So this is helping me know whether or not price is overbought or oversold, where the momentum is in the very immediate near term. And then this is the longer trend in place. So what do we got going over here? I know it's almost scary how bullish people are here on the equity markets. For me, it's scary. They're almost a little bit like emotionally long, because you can't even talk about having an alternative opinion to them without them getting very upset. So I always remain pretty skeptical. I can't imagine that I'm going to be. I'm starting to be very bullish on Bitcoin. Everyone knows what a believer in Bitcoin I've always been. But anyone who's been following this channel for 2 or 6 or 8 months understands and knows that this is the first time that I am now saying that I am really bullish on Bitcoin, and that goes without obviously some big buys down between 42, 52, and 65, right? So, but right now I'm that wasn't bullish. That was, I just need to accumulate at these levels. This is now about to turn possibly bullish, right? Exuberance. Oh, so I do have some fellow bears out there with me. That's good to know. That's good to know. You know, and the equity markets are obviously very tricky. Let's see what else we got going on today. That's why I'm not focused in on gold and silver today. And silver, again, maintaining the support over here. People that are really focused in on them. Okay. This is a make or break it for the near term for gold, whether or not it holds this bottom of this consolidation. If it rolls over, then yeah, we could see 1580 on gold. Obviously, we have 1640 first to get through. But if we do, the next big support's down at 1580. It wouldn't be unusual in a bull market for gold to have that type of pullback. It's quite possible. It is interesting, whether you like it or not, the fact that we are seeing gold weak with a weaker dollar, right? You're seeing weaker gold with a weaker dollar. Liquidity is rising, right? Global liquidity continues to rising, but that could contract really quickly. The thing is when that starts cascading, it comes down hard. It comes down hard and fast. That's what we're waiting for. The only time that we could say that it's time to get short the markets is when this is rolling over, and it's not even close to rolling over right now. It is extraordinarily bullish. The bull is continuing to leap and throw the riders well off of it, and you still want to look to go ahead here and probably be looking to buy any pullbacks until the trend does roll over. You want to get the easier piece of it. You don't want to try to pick the top or the bottom. Same thing here on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. I'm really watching this one. This is top on the list for me. Also, the US dollar, Japanese yen, I need to watch over here as it's pulling back. I want to re-enter this trade. If we're breaking out here to the upside, I want to be long. So that is two Japanese yen trades that I am considering. And one of those being the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, the other US dollar, Japanese yen. Yeah, I've actually, I don't even know about that. I was really glad to get out and travel. I was definitely much more concerned going into the experience than I was leaving it, and leaving it felt pretty safe. We have to be careful right now. We have to be watching what's going on with the increased cases of the virus. It seems to reason that the recent riots would increase cases, as there was obviously no distancing. A lot of people wearing masks out, even in that situation. That's true. There were a lot, but I can't imagine people were remaining too clean. Um, I think the best way is take care of your immune system. Make sure you're getting plenty of sunlight. Make sure you're getting exercise and eating well and getting sleep. That's the most important thing of your immune system. And then, aside from eating a good diet, right, you take some vitamin D and vitamin B. So, Nick, I'm not familiar at all with the financial situation of Robinhood, but I think they're pretty well established and do well. During the crisis, it was a little inconvenience that their platform kept going down in the morning, but I don't think there was a mass migration away from Robinhood users. I think they stuck with it. I don't know. I don't know or understand why, but Robinhood has maintained, I think, a large base, and so I think your money is probably pretty safe in there. It's like keeping your money with a bank, right? It's probably pretty safe, but at the end of the day, the bank could go under, so you have third party risk. The FDIC, if the banks are going under, will also go under, and then you also have things like, that money is confiscatable. So they could just confiscate that money. So yeah, you know it's a it's a pretty low risk play, but there are risks involved. Oh yeah, I think for sure we could see increased. I didn't think that we would see a second wave, and I do think we're going to see a big second wave until the fall. I wonder if the recent error on the part of everybody, the people and the government, if or not we don't see a rise in cases starting now. I would not be surprised at all, Wes, even though I thought it was going to be in the fall. Yeah, Young Feng say that's what I think. I don't think Robinhood is the way to go. I don't think Robinhood's the way to go. I think Webull is a better alternative to Robinhood. Oil's coming off right now. Interesting to see oil coming off as the yen is possibly getting a little bit stronger here. But is this again? Is this the end of this move? This is just a bull impulse in a bear market? We're still in a bear market on oil, and I think that this could see much further pain ahead, unquestionably. And why this might be the top over here. At the same time, this trend is not yet showing signs of exhaustion or slowing down. We could definitely see this nice steady climb continue, right? And when this does finish out and roll back over towards the next big leg down, we'll be there to take a look at it, because why this is a counter impulse here. This move up is a counter impulse, and the one back down could be stronger. No, I'm not long on the US dollar, Canadian dollar. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know, but we'll take a look at it this afternoon. Oh, 3160. Could it lose this support over here? Where is 3160? Yeah, there's not. I don't see a level at 3160. I see the next area of support in the area between 3096 and 3136. That's the next area of support. Yeah, Coinbase, I have to voice my my caution against, the same way that I do and deleted Facebook. You have to think of Coinbase similar to Facebook, and that is you have zero privacy. And again, the thing about privacy is that's a freedom. Privacy is a freedom, and it's getting harder and harder to exercise. And if you feel comfortable with the whole narrative of I have nothing to hide, therefore I don't care that they are invasive to my privacy, then you could use Coinbase. Otherwise, I would stay away. I have recommended in the description below Kraken to buy Bitcoin. However, it's not the easiest thing to buy. It could take as much as a week with the different approvals needed. So BlockFi has become an excellent option. It was a very pleasant experience, and it was just a simple wire. It was very easy. So BlockFi was a very. I'm going to change that. I'm going to I don't have an affiliate link for BlockFi, but I recommend it. So I'm going to change that today. And that all evolved over the last couple of weeks. I just realized that it was just an easier, more pleasant, better experience. Well, I don't know. I mean, the thing about Bitcoin is that you don't have to trust a third party. The thing about Bitcoin is that you can control your own keys and hold your Bitcoin in a hardware wallet offline. And if you own one Bitcoin, yeah, I think that you should be holding personally that Bitcoin safe and secure that's in a hardware wallet. In the description below is the link to Trezor. And that isn't an affiliate link, which helps support the channel, but that's what I recommend for sure. There's yeah, and it's been getting harder and harder. Yeah, that's also so I had trouble with Cash App. Maybe it was because I was out of the country when I tried to get verified, and they saw I was coming from an IP out of country. But if you could get verified to send out of Cash App, then go ahead and purchase it on Cash App. Super easy. I should have a link there for Cash App actually. I'll include BlockFi and Cash App, and Cash App, I understand from a lot of people, is very simple and easy to use. And then you could send it from Cash App to your Trezor. So I would not recommend Robinhood, although I don't think they're going under. Why take the risk? Yeah, that makes sense too, Mike. No matter what the exchanges are, keeping a small amount on the exchange, to use small leverage, that makes 100% sense. Yeah, Derek, also with BlockFi, they require a wire transfer. So that's generally like more or less about a $30 fee. It's not obviously not for buying small amounts of Bitcoin. TJ, that's not true, right? The oil price has plunged well below the level we need to turn a profit. Why weren't they hedged? We are spending much, much more than we make. And I am making millions of dollars every day. That's a great comment. That's a great comment over there. Let's check back in. The dollar, a little bit off its lows, rejected over here at this resistance. Looks pretty weak over here still, especially since this session started. Chris, you know what? So Chris, this is a really great question as well. He's downloading the chain for Bitcoin Core, and he's asking if anyone here uses that platform and is it any good. And I have also downloaded and run a full node. Now it's not running at this moment and has actually been down for more than a few months. That's not to say it just wouldn't be as simple as reopening that machine and then connecting to the internet, and then it would take several hours for the blockchain to update. But yeah, that is amazing. And it's really important that as many people as possible run their own full node and are verifying the blockchain, or making sure the blockchain is running according to consensus. And that's why the miners don't have the power. It's because of people, Bitcoiners running full nodes. So I should get back on that, just running it for the sake of running it, kind of supporting the network like that. Hey, Chris will help 25 people earn $8,000 in 7 days, but you got to pay him 5% of your profits. If anyone's interested, you could what's up, Chris Alford. Omar, you could go ahead and pull back and watch the beginning of the session and where we looked at that exact question. And we're going to look at that question this afternoon as well on the S&P equity market video. We're going to be looking at that exact question on whether or not I think the Dow Jones and S&P will also go on to make new highs. Or if you want to watch the short version of that, you could go back and look at what's going on. So that Cash App is owned by Square, right? So if you're using Square to buy Bitcoin, you're using the Cash App. Yeah, but if you're a real Bitcoiner, you have to run a full node. That's for sure. It's really important. Yeah, Edward, let's take a look right now at the pound US dollar. We looked at it briefly. We did look at it briefly. I don't remember exactly what's going on, and I do want to know. So I would have to say, so the first thing I notice is that well, I don't notice. Would you say that this is an uptrend or a downtrend, or would you say that it's a sideways market? That's the first thing that you need to assess about the pound US dollar. Is this actually an uptrend, a downtrend, or a sideways market? And I see price right now kind of in the middle between the upper and the lower portion of this range, which makes it really difficult to have a bullish or a bearish bias. And if you come in right now to the immediate time and you're looking at the true trend, then you see that we are in this up impulse over here. Right now, price is pulling back. So it's going off from being overbought in an uptrend, right? This is the portion of the trade you want to be riding. And if you got your entry in over here at the last opportunity at 1.2581, right? And then taking profits, right over here, you might looking to be add to a position now when this comes out of this current pullback and resumes forward. Yeah. So are the yen pairs, as the market is pulling back, are we seeing a pullback in the yen? So if we look at, we'll start with the US dollar, Japanese yen. If you look at the US dollar, Japanese yen, now the question in mind is, are we starting to see a bigger pullback in the Japanese yen? And yen has been steady, strengthening ever since the markets opened on Monday, right? But if you're looking at this, so this is the US dollar, Japanese yen, right? We're definitely in this upwards impulse, and you could see that where it ended so far is in that big resistance at 109.71. That's blue because it's the line in the sand. Above is bullish, below is bearish. It's rejected it, but at the same time, it's on the verge of breaking out here of this 5-year trend line, right? So now that we're pulling back, and we're still just pulling back into an area of support, you can see it right where price is right now. And now that we are showing in this up impulse, if price is able to resume back towards it, is it possible the next push will take us back above 109.71? And if that's the case, do you want to be involved in the long now? Yes, I think so. What about, is this the rejection? I'm not taking that. I wasn't looking at taking that. But if this is the rejection over here, there's going to be a period of time where it makes sense to get short as this trend is rolling over. But it's too soon whether or not to say if this current pullback on all yen pairs will become a deeper impulse or not. For it to become a deeper impulse, the true trend needs to turn red and it needs to start extending, right? Right now, we're getting some warning signs that this could be the top, technically, the 109.71 resistance, trading below the trend line right now. And the fact that we saw some pretty extended levels on both the trend CCI above 250. So you need to be cautious, but not picking the top at the same time. Yeah, Roman, do I ever pay attention to the shape of the candle? I mean, trading off of candles itself is not really a good strategy, but I'm aware of them. Let's put it that way. If you haven't had the time yet to read, I think his name is Steve Neeson, his book on candlesticks. I remember doing that 20 years ago, one Saturday morning, going to Borders Books. This is before Amazon killed retail books, and having a cup of coffee and reading that book. And it was a really enjoyable read. I recommend spending a few hours with that book for sure. No, I don't care about Uber. That's 100% Andres. Hey, Andres. Good morning. That's completely correct. I do not care about Uber. I'm more concerned about Bitcoin and the US dollar, Japanese yen. 100% with you. Listen, the currency markets, specifically on the 8-hour time frame, is probably the best market you could ever trade. You will see the trends tend to be smoother. They're much easier to trade. They're better markets. You don't have to worry about a lot of things you need to worry about inside the US equity markets. So definitely. Yeah, the thing about that, Fang, is that, Daniel, gaps could remain unfilled for a really long, extended period of time, and that's just not a good strategy that I like to see. Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, that's for sure. We're not seeing any type of data support. Well, no, I'm sorry. Let me actually read that full question, Darren. He's saying that regarding COVID, the data does not seem to support the theory that cases are decreasing yet, and I'm not sure that the market will care. The economy gets shut, market cares, slow burn. That's also one thing that I noticed, that, Darren, I'm glad you brought that up while I was away. I noticed that a lot of how do you say, big box retailers, like, for example, Gap, Pottery Barn, pharmacies like CVS or Walgreens, rather, were all shut down and boarded up. And it was really interesting because originally business was shut down from the virus. That's right. Worldwide data shows to be continuing to increase. Now, there are areas, for example, China, there are areas such as Europe, including Spain and Italy, and also in the United States, including areas like New York, where you've seen the data backing up. There's been large decreases in the virus. And in those areas, the curve has definitely been hit. Now, there are other areas like Brazil and Mexico where the virus is currently increasing and peaking, as well as you saw a big resurgence in Iran and other Muslim countries because of people out and about pilgrimaging during Ramadan. And this is the same thing now you have in the West. You have people out and about rioting, right? And so we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Are pretty important. So that's not true, BB. I mean, it's true in a sense, right? The markets don't seem to care about anything but the Fed pumping money. It is true that the Fed pumping money is helping alleviate the pressure on the global liquidity market, and that's what the market is focused in on. However, the Fed has been slowly tapering back their daily purchases. They're now at their lowest point since the crisis. This week will be about $4 billion a day. Is the market going to start paying attention and begging for more money? I don't know that yet. Risk off could be coming soon, TJ. We're looking at these trends. We're looking at these trends, and they're showing possible signs here of exhaustion. Played Fingers says, report this video. I can't even pronounce it. Plad Fingers says everyone to report this video. So just so everyone knows, all right, guys? So by the way, let's look at this. This is probably the most important thing we can look at right now in this session. Jeff from Indonesia, what's going on? Glad to see you. So looking over here at the DXY, and we saw this morning, as soon as New York woke up this morning, not before the equity markets opened, but we saw a change here starting around 6:30 in the morning Eastern time, where the dollar started weakening, right? And if you look down over here, you can see that the dollar is quite above a 200 reading on the trend CCI, quite oversold. If you come back above right now that you're seeing price oversold in a downtrend market, if you see us come back up and snap back above this resistance, that would be caution that we could see a bigger impulse here in the dollar. Right now, and until that happens, though, you have to lean on towards further dollar weakness to develop and continue until this area is taken out. And then the first indication that this was really breaking down, you would see the last swing high taken out. That's all the way up at 97.62. So this continues. We're watching for where signs it could be turning, but right now it continues to be trading very weak, the US dollar index. Yeah, John, that's pretty important. So US dollar, Canadian dollar, not on the. Yeah, exactly, Young Feng Shui. Exactly. Well, I only shared that with you. I don't know why. Maybe because we were talking about the reality of COVID. I don't know. You're looking forward to. We could take a look at it. I just see a lot in play, and in the U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar, I'm not looking at one of those things, right? If the market the S&P, if we see a bigger correction here, we could see a bigger correction on the US dollar, Canadian dollar, but there's no indication yet here. There's no indication to begin looking for any type of long trades. You're picking a bottom by doing that. And that's not to say that this doesn't snap back hard, as it's at some really big levels. We expect that it will, but that's not the easy trade where every time you start seeing it peak up like over here. That's not necessarily the best time. So we'll find out soon enough if we're going to get an extension of that move. Your first indication would be the dollar taking back this 97.08 level. That would be your first indication. You also would see, the S&P 500, why it could easily pull back into this area of support between 31.36 and 30.96, and that would be expected. It doesn't mean that that you necessarily want to short the market here. If this is rolling over and we're going to see another impulse to the downside, as almost happened here but didn't, that will be the time then to look for a little bit. So you think it could be bearish? I'm not following that. Oh, the US dollar, Canadian dollar. Yeah. Right now the dollar could continue to extend. Right now you're seeing, and this involves the US dollar, Canadian dollar. It involves the US dollar, Mexican peso. It involves the S&P 500. If you want, you shouldn't be selling that right here, right now, even if there is a big move down, right? That this move is too powerful and could easily extend up. Same thing on the US dollar, Canadian dollar. This would be a question of over here of just, anyway. Yeah. I mean, right now, near term, we're looking at that weakness in the dollar, but could this be a place where it firms up over here? Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, it could. I mean, I don't see it as the most attractive thing to be looking and focusing on right now. But yeah, I mean, WTI, again, we spoke about this earlier. There's nothing else to add, that this continues to be a strong and steady trend. This could continue to keep going up. You're now seeing a pullback, right? If this resumes upwards, could be a time to continue. You can see that little bit of a channel that's developing over here. We're looking at like a slow movement upwards towards the resistance at 44.92. Again, this is right now in an impulse upwards, right? Is the trend down? Is this a bear market? Yes. But is this the time to go ahead and try to pick the top of it? No. So, Jordan, with the COVID-19, I don't think we'll get the issues surrounding low volumes in markets in the summer months like we normally do. More traders staying put. I think everyone needs to be really active and concerned about the markets. And I'm sure the last 2 weeks of August will be slow. There's no question about it. But until then, I think that we should see a lot of continued volatility in the market, even if that becomes a consolidation range. I think that it won't be such a narrow range. I think there will be a lot of movement. US dollar, Japanese yen, you said did something weird. Looks normal. Here, coming off the resistance on from very overbought levels, it's just having a more volatile reaction. It's too soon here. This is definitely in play. Looking for pullbacks here to the upside still. Get back above this trend line. But if this does, again, if this does break down, now that we've come into this big resistance, the line in the sand at 109.7 below, we are looking for long-term sells and above buys. It doesn't mean that this is the first opportunity to take the sell. If this is now going to be rolling over and the start of a new impulse down, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for trading. Right now, still looking at the possibility of this trend continuing right now to the upside. All right, everyone. Good session. Good to be back with you all this Monday. I
can't tell you how much I'm grateful for all of you and for this time we spend together looking at the markets. Really excited about this week, about the current trading conditions. The market looks like it is offering all of that opportunity. We got a set coming in right here, right now. Could be some possible nice waves to ride. And again, tomorrow I expect much more of the same. The next few days should be really exciting, and I see lots of opportunity in the market. I want to thank you all. Wish you all have a beautiful day, and I'll see you all tomorrow.